Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spill the Tea Radio, where we interview awesome singers, songwriters, and those who influence their lives. Spill the Tea Radio explores the journey, creativity, and inspiration behind the songs. My next guest hails from a quaint Canadian town as a remarkably talented vocalist who fuses jazz and R&B in her songwriting. Her natural charisma shines through her captivating vocals, distinctive fashion sense, and electrifying live shows. Seamlessly blending mesmerizing jazz chords, heartfelt songwriting, and ethereal vocals, she has crafted a fresh and bold R&B sound that is undeniably hers. So, let's spill the tea with Chelsey Bennett, professionally known as Seyblu. Welcome, Chelsey.
Thank you.
The first question that I have for you, because everybody wants to know this. I'm sure everybody asks you this. Why did you just choose the professional name Seyblu? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I do get that a lot. And basically the short answer is that Chelsey Bennett, although I love my real name, isn't really the feeling of the art that I make. And I really wanted some way to bring in the essence of Chelsey Bennett and the essence of the thing that I was building into one name. I had been writing on this online platform called songadayforamonth.com. And on there, I was just known as Blue, BLU, for a few years. And I really felt like my songwriting persona and my onstage persona were kind of these two worlds of these two people that I wanted to bring together. So I brought the Chelsey, which is the SEY, which, I just commonly call Say, and then the writing alias of Blue into Seyblu.
And I would imagine there's probably a couple of other artists out there named Chelsey Bennett. So it also gives you a very distinctive name as well.
Right. Yeah, for searching, it's definitely a lot easier. But yeah, I think there are, and there's definitely some Chelseas that have some really cool music out there. So yeah, it's great.
You come from a musical family.
Hmm.
Tell us about all the music in your family that perhaps inspired you along the way, as you are the baby of the family.
Yeah, that's right. Well, my dad's side of my family actually has a lot of classical musicians in it. And that's kind of the world that I first grew up in. So I went to church every Sunday, and my aunt was the opera singer, choir director, and my uncle was the concert pianist who played the organ. And it was like it was a very classical sort of upbringing until I started. I trained privately with my aunt for a few years, and then I switched to jazz when I was in my teens. But a lot of my cousins are still professional musicians as well. I have a professional bass playing cousin. I have one who plays violin and sings, and she's amazing. And a couple of piano players, a trombone player. My brother also studied music, and yeah, it's kind of wild, but it was quite a jump for me to veer away from that. So it was obviously like a beautiful way to be introduced to music. Everybody has their own way of being introduced to music as they're, in their formative years. But I still loved, learning music through that lens, but it definitely had to change for me personally.
The music that you were influenced by, you said you mentioned you went to church. So you've got the church music, which is a very different genre of music. And then you had the classical influence from your aunt and uncle. You pursued the jazz, and now you have developed, I'll call it your own unique genre of music. How did all those influences that you had growing up influence what you do today?
Certainly a lot, I think of even on the technical side of things, I learned how to sing, excuse me, from like my diaphragm, and like learn proper singing techniques so that I would be straighter. I'd sing like night after night after night. And for many years I did. But on a creative level, I think everybody has, like, whether you like it or not, the things that you grew up with are going to affect the way you write and think and create today. How did that happen? I'm not really sure. Sometimes I think my the way that I listen to music is maybe going to affect the way that I write music. And I, for a long time, thought I would just be this person who would I would write in every genre and I would basically perform in every genre and I could just do everything. And I've slowly come to realize that as I write and I become more authentic about what I want to say and what the true sound that is mine, whatever, that it's like actually quite specific. And although I respect and I adore many different types of genres, I'm actually realizing that my sound is just kind of nitpicking from all the pieces I liked about certain
Mhm.
things. And some of it might be a little classically influenced and folk influenced and R&B and soul influenced and hip hop influenced. But then whatever I'm making, it seems to be like this kind of narrow column of something that I don't even know how to explain. So
When you write a song a day for a month, is that cathartic? Is that the challenge? Is it the rush of competing against yourself?
sometimes you also think you're going to finish something and you take the idea from the song a day of the month and then you're working on it and you're sort of like cutting the fat and you're figuring out the structure of the whole thing. And then you're like, this song is actually, I thought that the heart of it was good and I could use it, but you throw it away. And that's the other nice thing about writing so many songs is that you don't have to feel so precious about every little thing.
You and I were connected through our musical colleague Chromatics, who you met at a SoFar event.
Mhm.
Tell us about SoFar. How does that work? How do you get invited? Because it's not a public event, correct?
So there was an event actually last night. So there was a public event, or not a public event, but one for just the So Far performers
Mhm.
to go to, and it's mostly just it's like an internal networking thing for musicians to meet and just connect and share experience and jam a little bit. But generally the So Far shows, like, did you want me to tell about the So Far shows themselves?
Yeah, tell us about a
Yeah.
SoFar show.
Okay, great.
What goes
Yeah.
on there? Because most people will never ever get to see the inner workings of a SoFar show. So you can give us we can live
Okay.
vicariously through you.
Nice. Okay, I'm happy to share. The So Far shows are incredible for two main reasons. One is that they don't release the names of the artists who are performing, and you buy a ticket, not knowing who is going to be the performer. And the other thing is they don't release the location until I think 24 hours before the show, something like that. And so there's just this really fun level of mystery. If you're a music lover, they have a really great vetting system for So Far. So I believe strongly in the level of talent that they present. And the shows are incredible. So the audiences are just really avid music listeners or avid live performer people who love it. They love going to shows. And for the performer, it's really beautiful to have an audience like that who's so attentive. And yeah, I guess the other cool thing about So Far is that it's in every major city. So there's probably one near you, depending on where you live. There's in Ontario alone, there are ones obviously in Toronto, London, Guelph, Hamilton, Montreal, Ottawa. So they're all over. It is mostly in the major cities, so you won't find them in towns. But yeah, it's a really great initiative, and it's global, so it's all over the world too.
How do musicians get on a SoFar bill to play? And when you were describing it, it sounds like SoFar is it's like a musical pop-up
Yeah.
in the cities. But how do musicians get involved? Do you need to be invited? Do you make an application to SoFar? How do you end up on the ticket?
Yeah, so if you really want to perform at one of these, I would say the best thing to do is apply online. They have an artist portal on their website. if you know exactly what cities that you want to perform in, you should try to find out who the so far lead is in that city, because those people get a lot of submissions, and sometimes the ones online, like I applied many times online and they didn't see it. So yeah, if you really want to do a Toronto So Far show, for instance, you can reach out to me and I can put you in touch with the people who run the Toronto So Far one. And for the other cities, just I would say try to get in touch with the people who are the So Far team in that city as best as you can. And actually, LinkedIn might be your friend in this regard.
And it sounds like there a good amount of networking helps as well. So if you just go to where other musicians hang out, go to the jam sessions, go to the open mics where other musicians are,
and go to a So Far show. The shows themselves usually have the organizers there, and you can just meet them right away.
Let's get into one of the songs that Seyblu wrote. This is Seyblu's latest single, Honest, delves into the realms of self-discovery and an unapologetic introspection with a pulsating bass line, layered acoustic percussion, and an enchanting melody that explains that even while alone, you couldn't be honest with yourself. So let's take a listen to singer-songwriter Chelsey Bennett, professionally known as Seyblu, and her song, Honest.
Why are you avoiding yourself? You're chasing all the rain clouds. What is the sound you make when you're alone and nobody is asking for the truth? For the truth, for the truth. So take a page out of your own book. You got days of diaries, but if you read them, you know it brings up anxiety. So take yourself out to lunch, 'cause I will not be your crutch no more. You couldn't be honest with yourself, you couldn't be honest. You couldn't be honest with yourself, you couldn't be honest. For years I followed you, 'cause I thought that you had the truth. But enough is enough, I called your bluff. You had others, give back my stuff. You lost my trust. You couldn't be honest with yourself, you couldn't be honest. Take a page out of your own book. You got days of diaries, but if you read them, you know it brings up anxiety. So take yourself out to lunch, 'cause I will not be your crutch no more. You couldn't be honest with yourself, you couldn't be honest. What part of me are you playing? I just can't see where. You got so damn you got me in all my feelings. What part of me are you playing? I just can't see where. You got so damn deceiving. You got me in all my feelings. Take a page out of your own book. You got days of diaries, but if you read them, you know it brings up anxiety. So take yourself out to lunch, 'cause I will not be your crutch no more. You couldn't be honest with yourself, you couldn't be honest.
That was Honest by Seyblu.
Thank you. Thank you for playing it.
It's a great song, and it's I love it. I love the song. It's just such a great piece that you've worked on. Tell us about the song, a little bit about the song, and then tell us about the inspiration for you to write this song.
Well, funny story about this song for me. I didn't know if I would be able to put it out initially, because when I first started writing it, like really back to the day, because it was one of my song a day for a month songs, that I I was starting to write it about somebody I had known a long time ago, like 15 years ago, that I thought just couldn't be honest with herself about who she really was. And it caused all of this conflict in her life. And I felt that if she was just honest with herself, that things would be much smoother. And then as I started writing the song, I was like, but that's me. I'm also the person who can't be honest with myself. And that's why I run into conflict with myself as well. So yeah, it ended up being a song about how, you can be really honest in your journal every day, but you can't tell people how you really feel. Or, you're kind of battling this other person inside of you, the way that we do talk to ourselves, like whatever you want to call that voice in your head that says like, don't do that, or whatever. And yeah, it ended up just being this kind of almost like an anthem for myself. Like, who cares? Life is too short to be worrying about not stepping on people's toes for being who you are. Be honest with yourself, state your truth, be who you are. You might suffer the consequences, but it'll be worth it because you'll feel so much more calm, you'll feel more happy with yourself, and you'll probably be more successful.
And how do people find out more about you and your music, where you're gigging? You've got new music coming out later this year. So how do
Right.
people stay in touch and find out more about what you are up to?
Yeah, so I'm on all of the social media platforms. Definitely Instagram is the one that I keep the most up to date. My website has a little place to add yourself to my mailing list. So the goal is someday when I'm doing a show near you that I can let you know that that's happening. And for the time being, I send out an email maybe like every few months and just try to keep you posted with what's going on. I have some shows coming up this summer that are going to be really fun. And the biggest news for me is that I'm making an album right now, and that's the first single, and that's going to be coming out this fall.
Been in conversation with Seyblu.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being with us.